What's up guys, Sanjay Shenoy here from Team Pixel Track and welcome to this brand new video in Content Marketing Mastery. I hope you've gone out and done enough research on your topics and collected enough information. Let's do a quick recap of what we learned in the previous video. In the previous video, we learned everything about research and how to collect information about your topic and how to get into the habit of segregating your information and creating this massive library of info for yourself. And we learned about how to use different tools to do the same. We also learned how to use advanced search operators on Google to make your search results very specific to the topic that you're looking for. And also we learned about how to evaluate your research, how to ensure that the source is true and all the information that you're putting on your blog is legitimate. Also, we learned about once you have gathered all of these points around your topic, how to structure your post effectively. That's how we learned, and what is the basic structure for any kind of blog out there, and what kind of different structures you can use to get the flow of your content right, so that it doesn't bore the user or make them not take any kind of action on your blog. So what is this video all about? This video is all about crafting killer headlines. So headlines are very, very important, and in this video we'll be learning why headlines are so important for your content marketing efforts. It literally can make or break your content marketing efforts. So we'll understand about why headlines are so important. We'll also understand what are the different types of headlines that you can use for your own content asset. Also, very simple steps to create amazing headlines for your content asset. This is what I personally use, and I strongly suggest you do the same too. And also, I'll be sharing a few tips for writing great headlines and a few downloadable resources and access to online tools like always. So let's get started. So why are headlines so important? It's very important to understand this because a lot of people think that spending so much time on headlines is just a waste of time or money or effort. But allow me to change your mind. The most important reason why headlines are so important is because headlines are the first point of contact for your users. The first time they ever interact with your content piece, it is because of the headlines, which is why it makes it so much more important. What it does is it grabs the attention of your user when they're floating around the internet like very curious cats, and it changes them from being curious users to attention held users. That's what headlines does, and it's super important. And I think in one of the movies called Django Unchained, where Leonardo DiCaprio has acted, I think he puts it out very nicely, but I kind of use it for headlines. So in one of the scenes, he says that, "Gentlemen, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention." And I think if headlines were to speak, that's exactly what, or users were to speak about your headlines, I think that's exactly what they would be saying, especially if you have crafted really good headlines. So make your first point of contact for your users extremely impressionable, and your first impressions need to be the best impressions that you can have. So you make sure you spend enough time on creating amazing headlines, because honestly it can make or break your content marketing efforts. You might have written a great piece of content, done amazing research, and put together this beautiful piece of content, but if you haven't spent enough time on creating headline which matches up with the kind of expertise that you've poured out in that piece of content asset, it is no point. If it's not attracting enough people into the funnel or into the content asset, then your headline is not doing the job for you. And more importantly, it kind of trickles down also, right? Because if you convince people to come and read your blog, and if they are definitely convinced with the information that you're sharing on your blog, and they share it on their walls, again, your headline is not going to do the trick for you, and your chances of going viral also dramatically reduces because of this. So which is why I'm saying can make or break your content marketing efforts. Also, what it does is it kind of sets the expectation for your reader. It kind of gives a sense of what to expect from that content piece, what kind of information they can expect from that content piece. And with that kind of expectation is what they come into your blog. And also what it does is, of course, it increases CTR. Amazing headlines increases CTR. Bad ones decrease CTR. So CTR is basically click-through rate. And why is it important? It's just not important on the search engines. It's also very important on any other channel, social media, email, or whatever it is, right? So if 100 people are exposed to your content or exposed to your headline, you would ideally want 100 out of 100 people to be clicking on it. Now, in an ideal world, that's not possible. So you need to get as many people as possible clicking on your headline and reading your content, right? Which is why having a good CTR will definitely help in your search engines, because it's one of the ranking signals that Google uses to rank websites. And also, if you have a good CTR on social media, your reach increases, the amount of people coming in from all your viral marketing or content marketing efforts just exponentially increases. So headlines are super duper important. I think I have made the case well enough, but in case I haven't made my case well enough, I would leave it to the legendary David Ogilvy. What he says is that on the average, 5 times as many people read the headline as read the body copy. When you have written your headline, you have spent 80 cents of your dollar. Now, that's the kind of importance David Ogilvy, who is like one of the best copywriters in the whole advertising industry, one of the best admin out there in the advertising industry this world has ever seen. In fact, his agency is still one of the biggest and the best out there in the world. So, as you can see, even he understood, and this is coming from an era where there were no computers, right? And it became all the more important to craft like amazing headlines. So, 80% of your efforts has to go into the headlines, is what David is trying to, Mr. Ogilvy is trying to say. And that is so true, because like if you have a great headline, it can like definitely make your content marketing efforts go in the way that you would like to go. In fact, I would like to share you one of the best headlines for which David Ogilvy had written, and which he thinks it is his best headline. He had written an ad for a Rolls-Royce car, and it was a very beautiful Rolls-Royce, and back in the 60s. And he had written a very beautiful copy for the newspaper, and the headline read, "At 60 miles per hour, the loudest thing in this Rolls Royce is the electric clock." What a beautiful headline. I think it just like uh, created a new standard, a new benchmark in the whole copywriting and advertising industry. And that alone made David Ogilvy like extremely legendary. So don't lose your focus, or don't like try to underestimate the power of headlines. It can like definitely help you in the longer run. So what are the different types of headlines that you can write? This is just a few examples that I'm showing you. These are some of my favorites. Feel free to like add more different types of headlines that you want to. If you see something out there, go ahead and like replicate it if possible. But I'll give you a few examples just to get the ball rolling. I think the easiest one is the one where you ask questions. So I'll give you an example. Is the Google Pixel 3 the best Android phone ever? So you're automatically creating that sense of curiosity in your user's head when you ask this question, because of at some level, on a subliminal level, the user himself or herself might have this question in his mind. Not only does the user relate to the problem that you are trying to solve here, but he'll be very curious to know what the solution is, what the answer to that to this particular question is. So questions like make a lot of sense if you're going with headlines. If you're starting off, the simplest way to do is ask a question, and of course then you provide the answer yourself. And the second one is the best of the best, something like the ultimate guide to content marketing. Like, this is the best piece of content you will be seeing on this particular topic. That is what you're trying to convey. And what this type of headline does is it gives that sense of authority, it gives that sense of credibility to the blog. And yeah, you might debate that it has been quite misused by a lot of bloggers out there. But having said that, there are different variations of this. It need not have to be the ultimate guide or whatever it is. So, what you're trying to convey, or what you should be trying to convey, is that it is this piece of content is the best of the best out there. So, once you convey that, you set the tone for this authoritative tone that you have on your blog and the credibility that you want to build eventually. The next one is comparisons. Again, a very easy one. KTM Duke 390 or BMW 310 GS, which is the best sub 400cc bike. Again, this is a combination of a review and a question. Again, like you see, I've like done a little bit of mixing around, which you should also be doing, honestly speaking. Once you have all of these once you know all the different types of headlines, feel free to like experiment with it, mix and match, and see what kind of headlines you can like come up with. So this is a comparison. The next one is user centric. So, for example, if you're a small business owner worried about GST, this is for you. Here, you're addressing the users. In this case, small business owners are my users directly. And when you do that, the level of resonance that users have with this piece of headline or piece of content will just increase manifold, because when you point out to the user and call him out, when he's like mindlessly browsing through the internet, he'll be like, hey, this person seems to be talking to me. I need to know what this is all about. And also, if you can see, I'm speaking about a problem that a lot of small business owners might have. Without divulging any more information about what it is, I'm still creating that sense of curiosity. So try to make it user-centric also, works really well. The other type, I call it respect the authority. Something like what 12 studies say about mobile phone addiction. Now, you are piggybacking on somebody else's authority, but what you've done is you've curated all of these studies and saying that, you know what, learn what these studies say about mobile phone addiction. So, again, you're creating this sense of authority. Either you can do this yourself, saying that we conducted this study and this is what we found out, or you can just piggyback on other studies. But like I've spoken about in the previous video, always evaluate your claims, always evaluate your research, and only then you need to like put it out there. So the next one is the shortcut. This one little trick can help you burn 2x calories during your workout. So everyone is looking for a quick fix, although in most of the things it is not recommended, but getting them to do that one small thing which will make them experience exponential results is a really good attention grabber with any kind of content marketing. So if you're trying to boil down that one simple thing, that shortcut for them to like double or triple or exponentially increase the results or output that they're getting, definitely helps. And the next is the big why. Why your newsletter never lands in the inbox and how to fix it. Again, it's kind of like a question, but it also is talking about the problem, getting the user to like relate with the problem, and then you're talking about the solution that you will be going to be providing in that particular content piece. Next one is the obvious one. Everybody does this. It's a listicle 7 reasons why you need to quit smoking now. So something like this. This is like a no-brainer. If nothing comes to your head, just go with the listicle format. And pretty much, you know, this is more than enough for you to like give a good structure for your blog also, and easy to write content around a particular headline also. Also, you can use something like a number cruncher, something like what we learned about SEO after analyzing 2 million websites. Now, here it'll only work if you've done like a very huge analysis of a lot of data, a lot of information, and put it across, and it works usually like that. So as you can see, once there are different types of headlines. There are many more different types out there, but these are some of the few, which is more than enough for you to start off with. And once you mix and match, you'll have enough permutation and combination of headlines that you can play around with. What you might have also noticed is that once you write the headline first, which I usually do, and which I strongly suggest you do it too, it gives a kind of direction to what kind of blog or what kind of content piece that you should be creating, and what is the way forward for the blog. So in the previous video we spoke about structure. This adds to the structure. It gives more solid foundations to the structure. Once you write the headline, you know that okay, this is what the headline is going to be, and this is how I'll be writing the content, because it is super important that your headline is absolutely aligned with your content piece. Like I said, you need to set the expectation with the headline and meet those expectations with your content piece. So very good habit to build is to like write the headline first and then start writing the content once you're done with your research. Okay, it might seem a little daunting for you to come up with really good headlines for your content piece, but I have broken it down into 8 simple steps for you to go ahead and write great headlines. Did you see what I did there? I just like created a headline out of it anyway. So let's just quickly go through the steps, and I'll actually walk you through the steps and show you what I have come up with by doing the same thing. The number one thing that you need to remember is you need to aim for at least 25 headlines for each of your content piece. Now, this might seem like ridiculous and this might seem a little too overwhelming and a little bit of an overkill, but trust me, this helps so much. Because what happens is the first 1 or 2 headlines that you come up with might not be the best ones, and then as you keep playing around with the headlines, you keep getting better and better and better, and you'll realize it when this is happening. And once you have a list of 25 headlines, you will see you'll have a benchmark to or you'll have something to compare it with. And once you have that, you'll see that probably the first headline you wrote was not the best one, right? And it also gives you an opportunity to mix and match and experiment a lot with headlines. And trust me, this might seem like a lot of time. It might take a lot of time to come up with 25 headlines. But if you follow all of these steps, I personally did it in like 15-20 minutes. Eventually, you might also get there, or it might take you an hour in the beginning, but that's nothing, right? I think we can all agree to the fact that spending an hour's worth of time on writing headlines shouldn't be a big deal considering how important they are. So aim for at least 25 headlines. I basically got this trick from this website called Upworthy, and I read that before they publish every blog post, they used to write at least 25 headlines and then like decide upon which is the best one. And I used to do this with my team, and trust me, it used to help so much because you could clearly see the difference in the quality of the headlines the first time they came out with and once they write about 25 headlines. So always aim for at least 25 headlines, and the moment you start doing it, you'll realize how important and how many headlines just comes up to you. What I suggest is to start off with use headline generators for inspirations. Some of these headline generators are amazing. It'll throw you out the actual headline that you need. But if not, it might just like nudge you in the right direction of writing that headline. So there are plenty of headline generators online. I'll be showing you a few of them. So you can use any one of these headline generators. You just need to put in your keyword and it'll spit out a brand new headline for you. Once you've done that, what I would suggest is you benchmark and trend your competitors or your entire industry for that matter. See what kind of blogs is getting a lot of shares on social media, and how is the SERP looking like? How is the search engines looking like for that keyword? What are the different titles people are using? Because this is a proven thing, right? This is a proven thing in terms of what has worked for social media, what has worked for search engines, and all of that. So you just need to benchmark it and trend, and you build on top of these things. So why would you not want to use the opportunity of taking this information which your competitors have spent a lot of time on? Once you've done that, what you can do is you can include a few powerful and emotional keywords in this thing. This is not your words which are for search engines. These are specifically powerful and emotional invoking words that you can use in your headlines. I've made a list of about 372 such words, which you can just like go ahead and use it as a list, as a reference for you to like include all of these keywords. Once you include all of these keywords, it gets a character of its own, it gets this sense of its own, and your headlines seem a lot more powerful than it was before. Also, once you do that, this goes without saying, but obviously you need to be including your SEO keywords within the headline, because having the keyword in the title is one of the biggest indicators of on-page factors for the search engines to rank your blog. So make sure that you include your SEO keywords. Also try different types of headlines. Don't like limit yourself to one type of headline and just get stuck with it. Try out different types of headlines, and once you try out different types of headlines, you might realize that you might want to change the way you write the blog in the first place. So go ahead, try different types. Once you've done that, analyze all of these headlines. Again, there are tools to do this. These tools like help you understand how they are and what they are into, how they might perform on different channels. And once you have this, creates like this barometer of potential performance. I wouldn't say that this is like very accurate, these tools. I just would say potential performance as to how these headlines might perform across different channels. So analyze them, and once you do that, probably A/B test the top three headlines and see which one of them you want to stick with, and just stick with those top three headlines. So let me just quickly jump into all of these steps that I just showed you, and I will actually go through the whole thing one by one and show you all the different tools and resources that I have come up with. Okay, the first tool that I'm talking about is the Potent Title Generator, and it's a beautiful tool. All you need to do is you just put in your keyword here and just click on this refresh, and it will start showing you all of these different headlines that you can use. Again, most of them can't be used at all. Like for example, the Hunger Games Guide to Content Marketing Courses, and my keyword in this case is content marketing courses. If I were to write an article about content marketing courses, what would the title be? So some of them seem very wacky, very unprofessional, but it kind of gives you inspiration to think about headlines in this particular manner. Say for example, this headline: how content marketing courses aren't as bad as you think. A great headline, which you can totally use it off the bat, and you just keep pressing this and you'll get like tons of content ideas, most of them which you might not be able to use, but some of them are really really good. So this is my go-to tool because it's a little edgy, and they try to be a little funny also, which I like, and it gives you that character to the headlines, but you want it to be pretty straightforward. SEO Presser has this blog title generator. It's on seopresser.com/blog title generator. Again, you just put in the keyword here and tell them what it is. Is it a generic term, brand, product, event, industry, location, person's name, or a skill? And once you put it in here, they will show you like about 4 headlines all the time. Just click on generate more titles, it will keep showing you different headlines. Either you can like copy it right off the bat, or copy it and change it a little bit and make it work for you. So for example, 7 things you need to know about content marketing course today. This is a great tool too. This is pretty straightforward, and it gives a more direct way of creating headlines. So if you prefer this, then go for this. Of course, we can't forget HubSpot when it comes to content marketing or idea generation. So even they have a blog topic generator, but more than enough for you to like get your gears moving. So few ideas right off the bat. Will content marketing course ever rule the world? Again, something that I cannot use. The next big thing in content marketing course, that is something that I can totally use. So they have a lot more blog ideas. You just have to like sign up for the newsletter, which you can just go ahead and do it. Then you have blog about by impact. Again, another great tool. You just have to clicking on the refresh, and like this can be quite tricky. So you need to. My suggestion is that you try to get as many inspiration as possible, and then you like work on your own. Also, there is one more tool called titlegenerator.com, which gives you this huge dump of headlines and which you can just like pretty much take whatever you want, and literally 700 headlines, titles, and content ideas. So uh, again, great headlines in this entire list. Just go through them and choose whichever you think is the right. So these are the 4 5 content or title generator tools that I use, or headline generator tools that I use. You can definitely go ahead and use the ones that you already know of, but I would suggest that if you want to, these 4 or 5 are more than enough. So this is a way to come up with your own ideas about a particular keyword and just to get inspiration. Like I said, one of the easiest way to do is analyze the content of your competitors. So I just did content marketing course on BuzzSumo, which I was spoken about earlier, and hit on search. These are all the titles that I got in terms of descending in terms of engagements. So I kind of know that how these titles have worked on social medias, and basically choose again, get inspired by one of these headlines and make them one of my own. Also, you can go to Uber Suggest and see how the SERP looks like for this particular keyword, and pick out a few titles or headlines from here also, which can be really, really helpful for you. Once you've done that, once you've had a list of headlines, if you want to make it more impactful, if you want to make it more powerful, I strongly suggest that you use this list of power and emotion words. You can just like choose one of them from this, and whichever like sounds nicer or organically seems into the headline. So I have like segregated it from A to Z. There are about 372 of these keywords or words, power and emotion words. These are proven to be like worked for a very, very, very long time. These are words that copywriters have been using for the longest time. So if you can somehow integrate these words, any word, any one word from this into your headline, nothing like it. And once you have done created like a, once you've done all of that, you should be able to come up with these many number of ideas. So this is, I got about 25 headlines for the word content marketing course, and check out all the ones that I got. How content marketing course will make you a better marketer, X content marketing courses that separate the best from the worst. You can just pause this video, and if you want, you can go through the entire list. Basically, it took me about 15-20 minutes to come up with all of these things. Now, uh, if you ignore all of this information data here, some of the headlines seem better than they are, and one way to ensure that you get the best of the best headlines is a tool that I call the co-schedule headline analyzer. Again, you just go in and put in your headline here and click on analyze now. As you can see, I've done a bunch of analysis already, and it'll show you what your headline score is, what kind of emotional and power words that you have used. As you can see, I've used better and will make you as this thing. What are the common and uncommon words that I have used, and how how lengthy is it in terms of characters and words. You need to be aiming for something that is short, because especially for search engines, it makes a lot of sense for you to keep it short. So what I would suggest is you make every single headline of yours go through this headline analyzer. Again, there are plenty of other headline analyzers out there, but I find this to be the nicest and the easiest one to use. So I suggest you can like go ahead and use this, or if you are more comfortable with other headline analyzers, you can use that. But the idea is to analyze your websites. As long as you're analyzing your websites, that is good enough. And once you have done that, you'll see the headline scores, the characters, and the number of words that are there in it. So ideally, you should be going for one which has the best headline score, the least characters, and the least words, right? And this seems to be the one out of the lot, which seems to be pretty okay. And once you have about 3 or 4 of them, which probably might be this, what I would suggest is see if you can make it sharper, tighter, nicer, more powerful, more impactful in your own way, and run through the headline analyzer once again. And once you've chosen like your top three, top five headlines, make sure that you A/B test it in whatever way you can. If you have an email list, that's the best way to A/B test it for free. Or you can just boost the post for the lowest amount on Facebook and see which ones get the best CTR before sending it out to the entire list. So yeah, that's like pretty much all the steps that I've covered. And look at all the headlines that I've come up with, and this seems very daunting, looks very daunting in the beginning, but trust me, once you start doing it, you'll just get into the flow and this seems like a breeze. And once you start doing it, you'll realize how important this is and how you start getting different ideas and how you can, not all of these ideas are off the bat from these tools. Some of them I have modified it and all of that. So slowly you'll get into the groove of doing that. So go ahead, generate a bunch of headlines for your keyword and let me know what you think about it. Awesome. I hope you have gone around and played around with all the tools and toys out there to bring out the best headlines that you can possibly come up with. Once you start doing that, you might also realize that the way you write your content or the way you structure your content is completely dependent on your headlines. So if you're more comfortable, you can start working on the headline first and then start doing your research and structuring your content accordingly. That is something, that's the way I do it, but not everyone prefers to do it that way. So I've shared it in both ways. So if you want, once you have the keyword ready, go ahead and like create the headline first, and then automatically it gives you a sense of organization and structure to your blog and a good direction and go where to go in. So here are some more tips to make your headlines even greater. So let's see what you can do. The number one thing to do is you need to get to the point. Don't try to beat around the bush when it comes to what you're trying to say in your headline. Simple thing, problem, solution. That's it. What is the problem? What is the solution? How can you package this in the most effective manner using your headline? So get to the point, get to what the problem they're facing and how you can give them the solution that you want. And the next thing is try to address your users as much as possible. Like I'd shown you in one of the example of user-centric headlines, when you address your users, you're actually opening up a conversation with your users. It makes a lot of difference when it comes to CTR and the performance of these headlines. So address your users, address your audience, address the industry, all of the same, and make them curious, keep them curious, and tap into their different emotions. So every different kinds of emotions that you can tap into using these headlines. It can be awe, it can be surprise, fear, lust, it can be all of this anxiety, all of these things. You can make people feel all of these emotions through your headlines. So always keep them on the edge, so that you get the best bang for your buck when it comes to headlines. What's the length? This is especially useful both for search engines and your social media channels, because once they start sharing it, you wouldn't want it to be too long. Then people can't read what exactly your headline is. So what's the length? And always use title case. There's uppercase, lowercase, and title case. Title case is wherein the first letter of all the words is capitalized. There are again plenty of tools out there. You can just Google in title case generator and paste your headline there and convert all of your headlines into title case. This is just how do you say, basic headline etiquettes and hygiene, and done only for like better visual appearance. Nothing else apart from this, but it looks nice when you use title case for your headlines. One thing that you might want to do is create a headline swipe file. So whenever you come across a great headline, just copy and paste it into an Excel sheet and create this source of headlines which you can refer to whenever you want to. So you create your own headline generator whenever you want. If you're stuck and if you can't come up with any kind of headlines, you can always quickly open up your headline swipe file and see which one of those headlines you can use. So it's a great thing to do. You can either keep it as bookmarks, or you can create an Excel sheet, or you can use Evernote. Whatever you feel comfortable, but create this headline swipe file as much as possible. And very importantly, whatever principles fundamentals and concepts that we spoke about for headings, the same thing applies for subheadings within your content piece, right? So the same way people are scanning through your content, your headline needs to grab their attention and make them read your actual main body of content. So use the same principle for subheadings. Use it. The objective of these subheadings is to again grab the attention of the users and get them to read as much as possible. So with that, we come to the end of this video too. Thank you very much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this video. Let me know your feedback and write down your feedback in the comment section below, or shoot me an email at sanjay@pixeltrack.in. Thank you very much for watching this. I will see you in the next one.